He thought he could sneak around with my wife behind my back, bring our kids into it, and walk away without consequences. I'm not the kind of man who shouts or makes a scene. I'm the kind who watches, plans, and when the moment's right, drops the hammer. This is the story of how I torched the lives of two cheaters, slowly, methodically, and completely. If you've ever been lied to, betrayed, or made to feel like a fool, this one's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up. Because what starts as suspicion ends in a masterclass in revenge. Back in the early 2000s, life was pretty simple. I had a steady job, two beautiful kids, ages 4 and 6, and a wife I believed I knew better than anyone. We'd been through thick and thin. College years, late-night ramen, the early grind, 2 pregnancies, diaper blowouts, sleepless nights. Everything that glues people together. Or so I thought. Looking back now, I realized there were signs, tiny cracks forming in the glass. Moments that didn't make sense until much later. Like how she'd started working part-time. Nothing wrong with that. But suddenly, she was dropping the kids off at her parents' place a lot. They lived 90 minutes away, and she was doing this 2 to 3 times a week. Seemed excessive for someone who only worked a few days a week. At first, I didn't question it. That's the thing about trust. You give it freely until it's shattered. But something didn't sit right. And the weirdest part? Our kids, bless their innocent little hearts, started talking about Nana and Papa's house constantly, as if it had become their second home. Every time I asked my wife about it, she'd brush it off, say she just needed help juggling everything. But she wasn't a good liar. You know how you can read someone's body language after living with them for years. Her smile was too tight, her explanations too rehearsed. So I did what any increasingly suspicious husband would do. I started logging her car's mileage. Week after week, I wrote down the odometer readings before and after her shifts. Still, I had no solid proof, just a growing pit in my stomach. Then came the accidental break I wasn't even looking for. One evening, I sat at our family computer. She'd forgotten to close out her email. And taped, like an invitation from the universe, was a sticky note with her AOL password. Temptation whispered. I gave in. Her inbox told me everything. Long email threads with her college best friend, gushing about her steamy reunion with an ex-boyfriend from high school. They laughed about how dumb I was, how the guy's wife had blown up after having kids. The arrogance, the cruelty, it punched me in the gut. I printed the emails, all of them. I needed something concrete. And deep down, I needed to know exactly who she was betraying me with. So I called in a favor from a buddy of mine who was a cop. He gave me the number of a guy named Ron, ex-detective, now a private investigator. Ron didn't ask questions. I gave him the emails, the schedule patterns, and he got to work like a bloodhound. A week later, he handed me a dossier like something out of a movie. Photos, date and time logs, motel receipts, GPS tracking. Turns out my wife had perfected a disgusting little ritual. She'd drop the kids off at her parents' house, meet her ex, Bob, for lunch, and then they'd head to a roadside motel. They didn't even bother hiding. Same seedy place, same lunch spots. Like they were reliving some high school fantasy. I thought I'd be furious, but it was worse than that. I felt cold, detached, like my heart had clicked into some survival setting. I didn't want confrontation. I wanted justice. But Bob was going to get more than a broken home. I wanted his world to burn. Because unlike my wife, Bob had more to lose, and I had just enough information to light the match. Ron dug deeper. Bob was married, 3 kids, VP of sales at his father-in-law's business. The same father-in-law who, it turns out, owned the house they lived in. Interesting. I had Ron make duplicate copies of the report. I planned it all down to the hour. On the same day my wife got served divorce papers, at her workplace, no less, Ron drove across town and met with Bob's wife. He gave her the whole file. Photos, timeline, the works. Ron told me she broke down crying at first, but then something in her changed. Like a light switch, cold fury, determination. I don't know the details of what she said to Bob when he got home, but I do know what happened next. She cleaned out their bank account, took the kids, moved in with her parents, and told her father everything. Pause. Within 48 hours, Bob was fired from his cushy VP job. The house? Eviction notice. His in-laws owned it, and they wanted nothing to do with him. Public divorce proceedings followed, nasty ones. Police reports, physical altercations, one involving his wife's brother breaking his nose, restraining orders, jail time. His life fell apart, piece by piece. Last I heard, Bob moved states, changed numbers, vanished from social media, disappeared like a ghost with nothing left to haunt. The aftermath and lessons learned. Some people ask me if it was worth it, if I regret not confronting them in person. No. Confrontation is about ego. Justice is about balance. I didn't want to scream. I wanted them to suffer the same helplessness I felt reading those emails, the same betrayal my kids would have felt if they were old enough to understand. And I got it. Some people burn bridges. I burned the whole city down and walked away with clean hands. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. Drop a comment with the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed or pulled off. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that prove karma's not just real, she's punctual.